All right, I'm back with another show. Hey guys, thank you for joining me today. My name is Leon Duncan. It's Leon Duncan every day. Real estate lunchbox. I do this. We talk about real estate. We talk about culture. We talk about politics. We talk about anything and everything you can put your hands on. That's Atlanta because we're based in Atlanta and we want to show you that Atlanta's a great place to live, but sometimes it's not a real place. Man, it's Monday morning. Shoot, my daughter's birthday yesterday, and whew, interesting, very very interesting weekend. You guys know Trump. Trump threw the bombs. It used to be bombs over Baghdad. Now it's bombs over Iran. Bombs over Iran. Yep. Trump did it, man. You got a bunch of different opinions out here. I see some of these people out here that are tripping. We got a lot of Iranians celebrating. We do have a lot of liberals, of course, out here causing terror, making it look crazy. They're after the man called Trump again, again. They just love chasing Trump, man. I think they just love coming at this cat, bro. It doesn't matter what Trump does. It's never right. It's never right. Never right. You got to realize it. If it doesn't fit the need or the message that they want you to get from mainstream, and we're gonna run a check. We run a check on everybody over there on Facebook, everybody over there in YouTube. Please like, subscribe, follow. You watching this in replay, or if you're just watching it live, jump up in here, talk to your boy, whatever you got to say. Leave your comments. I definitely respond to comments because I enjoy responding to comments. Yup. Woo. Boy, is real out here. I tell you, it's real out here. What? Yo, I've been looking at my Facebook. It's crazy. 50% off your first 300. You women, I don't know what's up with women right now. Is it the lack of money that's making a lot of women do this? And it's not a lot of women. That's true. It's not all women. I'm not going to say it's all women because women it's some really great sisters out here. Some of you women are great. I love what you're doing. I love the hustle. I love the grind. But I don't know what it is. You got to tell some of these other women, bro. You know, come on. Let's be for real. Why the heck you posing your body out here on Facebook like this? Why? 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 I don't get it. Especially since it don't make any sense. The whole is that attitude right now is interesting and annoying. Not everybody. Let me tell you. You know, with some guys out here, good men don't want hoish women. We like a woman to look good, dress good, and look sexy. But damn, when I'm looking at Facebook now, I'm trying to figure out what the heck is up with some of these women. Perfect example. I know. I listen. I've never met. I think I met this girl probably at a real estate event, and the deal done switched. She on a full couch in a bathing suit, 50% off for your first 300. I don't know if she's talking about a picture. I don't know what she's talking about. Is she talking about that picture? Is there something else with the picture that I get? I don't want it because I don't know what you really got, and I don't want none of that. But I can tell the economy is crippling them because the same ones you will find at Magic City. Yes, Atlanta has one of the biggest strip club scenes. Have you ever been to Atlanta and you hang out at night, you can't avoid one of your boys saying, "Hey man, let's check out this strip club." And bro, y'all got to slow down because these women, woo, boy, they got y'all. They got y'all. Gotcha. Delete. You can't. I can't. I can't do it. No. And it's stupid when it pops up on your tread, man. I tell you, bro. It's Crazy. One thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to make you wait for what I got to say about this uh, Austin terror attack. Even though I got a bunch of good things lined up for us to talk about today, your input is very much appreciated, even if you don't agree with me, because there's a bunch of people that don't agree with me, and there's a ton of people that do. Guess what? My wife don't agree with me on everything. I don't expect you to agree with me on everything. My mom don't agree with me on everything. I don't expect you to agree. If you agree with me on everything, you kind of, I would say you're crazy. That's a little off. Too much? Because we shouldn't be agreeing with everybody on everything. That's crazy. That's insane. There's nuances to it. There's a lot of nuances. And some people see them that I don't. And I respect that. But one thing you're not going to convince me right about now is that there's not a full-blown attack on the United States of America when it comes to radical Islam. Yeah, Sharia law. And it's slowly creeping into the country. I've seen it in Texas. I've seen it around your real estate down there in Texas, man. They've been buying up property and building communities and then running for offices with that voter block. That looks very much like Minnesota.
Oh, no.
Ooh. Minnesota and Texas, in some parts of Texas, outside of Houston, Texas, some outside of Austin, like we're about to talk about. It's getting out of control. And the people on the left don't want to admit it. Listen, we can still love people and recognize radical shit. I'm going to try to do my best not to cuss today. I'm going to try to give you the whole Candace Owens. Yeah, no, I'm not. Can't do that. And plus, at the same time, some of the stuff I'll be wondering, like, where did she get that from? That's in a book? That's somewhere? Huh. Candace ain't crazy, but then Candace can be a little extra.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she can be a little extra. And I had a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. And you know what's worse? I only carried my gun 80% of the time. And I'm usually a 100% carrier. Nobody really expected what was going to happen in Houston to happen. Within 24 hours of the United States bombing Iran, you turn around, Iran. Iran better watch out. You better watch out, Iran. Some good people in Iran, but the leadership's crazy. Who's going to be the next leader up? We'll talk more about that. But man, 24 hours, and then you get a shooter down in Austin. I'm not crazy. We have sleeper cells in this country. And I don't think the people on the left actually help the situation. I don't think they help at all. Because they give safe haven to them. And even worse, they radicalize, support the radicalization of the ones that are caught in the middle and trying to figure it out. Listen, if you have to shoot up people that have nothing to do with the situation, you crazy. But when Trump said bring back insane asylums, he's 100% right. Because this guy who did the shooting definitely had some mental issues. And I'm very surprised on how this is covered on the news, but then it is fading out a little bit. And I can get it down in Houston, down in that Texas area. Texas is not what Texas used to be. Please, it's not. It's not. Texas is it's holding on, but then you have such an integration of illegal migrants, legal immigrants being radicalized, some real crazy, weird, funky stuff that's out there. Listen, you guys in Texas, my man, all you guys in Texas, always you can support the channel too by buying a cup of coffee. You guys in Texas, bro, you guys got to jump up and do something a little bit. You guys got to stand up to this stuff, because it's just gonna start getting. I'm getting my stuff together while I'm talking to you. Just gonna start getting more and more crazy out there, because who wants to deal with a potential World War III? But at the same time, when you do what these liberals tell you to do, the people on the left, they tell you to do, and you got some rhinos out there too. I heard rhinos. This is not something that's just restricted to the left. I'm an equal opportunity smoke giver right now.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Because at the end of the day, you got enough people out here that are turning a blind eye to a lot of this stuff that's taken. They're ignoring it completely. And we're having that same thing in Georgia. We're starting to get more and more Islamic based people running for offices. And I'm gonna tell you, I have no problem with Islam. I have no problem if you want to practice. If that's what you want to practice, no problem. But when we get to that point where these voting blocks are starting to be put together and they're set up, and in the middle of them, they're designed to actually keep certain Islamic constituents, you know who I'm talking about, Ilhan Omar, to keep them in position so they can have their radical, crazy stuff smoking. Let's look at this. Iraq was attacked by the U.S. during Ramadan, and is sticking and it is sickening to know that the U.S. is again going to attack Iran during Ramadan. The U.S. apparently loves to strike Muslim countries during Ramadan, and I'm convinced that it isn't what these countries have done to violate international law. It's because of who they worship. Stupid, crazy, not true. Shout out to Marcus Rogers. Thank you for that post. I saw it on Facebook today. And Marcus is right. He said, she believes Iran was attacked because of Ramadan, not because of the evil dictator oppressing women and the citizens in Iran. This is the crazy part. I have yet to see any response backing the removal of the Ayatollah from power in Iran. From her and certain other ones. I didn't see Zoran Mamdani say anything that was really convincing. None whatsoever, bro. None. So I got to ask the question. You know the answer to it. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? What's going on is these people recognize the crazy, the insanity that radical regime in Iran represents. And because they're Muslim, they won't speak out against it, because it would actually strengthen the argument that Donald Trump has and a lot of well-sounding, sound people have about the radicalization that's taking place in the country and in Iran, the oppression. Ilhan Omar didn't say nothing about the 30,000 people that were already killed, that were slaughtered just because they were protesting a one-sided government. The inability to be able to run to remove him from office. She didn't say anything about it. Not even sympathy to the people. Maybe it's because those people that are being killed aren't true Muslims to y'all. Or they don't share that same radical ideology that that regime has. You decide for yourself. You tell me. I know and I believe, personally, that is all one intricate web. It's not one thing. We're talking about sleeper cells that come here and they've been sitting here. Why does it take like a 9/11 incident to actually wake some of these lefties up? Some of these people, and some of the rhinos too, some of y'all who are out there, rhinos, y'all know who y'all are. They know who they are. We see them all the time. They're the ones that didn't like Trump. Now they're on Trump's bandwagon. Then they don't like Trump. Then they're on Trump's bandwagon. Listen, we want to have a country where we can actually pass our real estate to our children. Okay, we want that where they can actually inherit from us. Because if it's left to these guys, There's no such thing of an inheritance being transferred. They want the country of the United States to be at their beck and, subjected to Islam. You are crazy if you think this is going to happen. 2 killed, 14 injured.
We begin tonight with breaking news from Austin. 3 people have died, including the suspect, and 14 others were hurt in a mass shooting outside of a bar in an area known for busy nightlife. Hello again, everyone. I'm Tom Abrams. Law enforcement sources identified the suspect as a 53-year-old man from Pflugerville, a suburb north of Austin. The FBI saying tonight it is investigating this as a potential act of terrorism. ABC 13's Sarah Al-Sheikh is live from where the shooting took place in Austin. Sarah, how do things look there now?
Yeah, you can still see this area is completely taped off, and a lot of law enforcement still here processing this scene. Now, this happened at that bar over there called Buford's here on West 6th Street in Austin. But here's video of what it looked like earlier this morning. Law enforcement says the original call came in around 2 a.m. regarding someone shooting around the bar Buford's. Authorities say the suspect drove around the block near the bar several times before he fired at people in front of the bar and on the bar's patio from his vehicle with a pistol. Then police say he drove west on 6th Street, parked his car, got out with a rifle, and shot at people walking by. Austin police say he continued to walk east on 6th Street, where officers then confronted him, returned fire, and killed the man. According to law enforcement sources, he was identified as 53-year-old Ndiaga Diagne from Pflugerville, who was born in Senegal and was a naturalized citizen. A law enforcement source has confirmed this photo, first obtained by Fox News, shows him. According to sources, the suspect was wearing clothing that made reference to Allah and wearing a t-shirt that referenced Iran.
Obviously, it's still way too early in the process to determine an exact motivation, but there were indicators that on the subject and in his vehicle that indicate potential nexus to terrorism. Again, it's still too early to make a determination on that. That's why we are investigating it very closely with our partners with Austin Police Department.
The Governor Abbott released a statement saying in part that he directed DPS to increase patrols and law enforcement in the 6th Street district during the weekends. Now, for people that are maybe not familiar with this area, I lived in Austin, worked here, went to school here. I'm very familiar with how packed this area can get, especially on the weekends. There's a lot of bars over here and restaurants, and this is an area that a lot of UT students also visit as well. Now, law enforcement has not released any information on the victims, but I wanted to mention this statement from the president of UT. He said, quote, "Our prayers are with the victims and all those impacted, including members of our Longhorn family, and my heart goes out to their families, friends, classmates, professors, and loved ones." Ultimately, still a lot of questions and so many people impacted by this. Reporting live in Austin, Sarah Al-Sheikh, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Okay, so the biggest thing with this shooter comes in, right? I looked at this, and I'm trying to figure out who this guy is first at the beginning. They told you born Senegal, naturalized citizen here, came here on a tourist visa, became naturalized, married someone, obtained his citizenship, in 2013. Investigators have noted that his history had mental health episodes and past encounters with authorities related to mental health. And he had access to a gun at the same time. Let's continue.
All right, let me bring in Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton joining us this morning from Texas. AG, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are talking about this shooting sparking new worries of Iranian terrorist cells activated in the United States after Operation Epic Fury. What can you tell us as the AG in terms of the status of this investigation and what you know today?
Well, I think it's pretty common knowledge that this guy had Iranian flag undershirt, that he had Allah written on his shirt, that they found other paraphernalia at his house related to Iran. So, yeah, I think it's a legitimate issue, a legitimate concern that he might have been part of a sleeper cell. At least he was inspired by Iran to do exactly what he did. And it is a concern for me going forward.
And what can you do about it today, because these worries are spiking given the fact that we don't know who came in through a wide open border under Joe Biden. We don't know if more Iranians came in and started terrorist cells or more people from Venezuela and beyond started human trafficking operations here.
Well, you bring up a really good issue, which is the Biden administration let in millions of people. I sued them over immigration 20 times. One of those lawsuits was about bringing in criminals. They defended even bringing in criminals. So they created this problem, and now law enforcement has the pressure of finding these people and vetting them and trying to figure out what's going on, which is really difficult to do once they're in the country and we don't even know where they all are.
Mm-hmm. And you, of course, have a primary election which begins tomorrow. You're running for a U.S. Senate seat. A new statewide poll shows it will come down to you and current Senator John Cornyn for a GOP runoff. What are you expecting?
Well, look, I think it's going to be a great day for us. I think he spent close to $100 million. I've spent around $3 million. They have definitely pumped the money in from Washington, D.C. I don't think it's going to matter.
Man, he only got away with $3 million, but $100 million? That's a lot. That's a lot for that position.
In the end, obviously, those commercials have been on all day, every day for about 6 months. But we're going to win this, and I think there's a slight chance that we could win this without a runoff.
And so you mentioned the money, and this is a really important point because, you know, some senators are criticizing all the money that's spent. Let's say, hypothetically, you win this without a runoff, Ken. Do you feel confident that you can take down the Democrat candidate come November? Because that's where this all is going. And if the Republicans lose Texas, somebody said the other day on the show, you lose Texas, you lose it all.
Yeah, that's true. If they lose Texas, they lose it all. And we can see already that Texas has some very radicalized people down there. It radicalized Islamic folks that are down there setting up voting blocks, like I said already, to sway and bring in votes, building communities, building their own cities, and we'll talk more about that, to be able to control the elections. See, our own civil freedoms are going to be used against us in order to remove our civil freedoms. And I say it because freedom is only as good as the boundaries that you put it around freedom. Freedom with no boundaries, it's really called lasciviousness. That means no control. Yeah, I'm coming out. I'm bringing the Bible out on y'all. I'm going to bring it out on y'all because I'm a man of God too. Yes. Bringing in lasciviousness and saying that it's freedom, that's the Democratic Party right now. If you're a Dem and you're listening to this, listen, you can't have freedoms without any boundaries, okay? You can't. Because you still have to maintain when that freedom now begins, you gotta recognize when that freedom starts to get perverted. And that's what we got. We got a lot of perverted freedoms. When people come in and say that you can have all the free stuff that you want, that's exactly what they did in Iran. That's how they told God had power. That's how they did. The supreme leader of Iran promised them back in 78, 79, before he took power, hey, all these people with money, listen, we need to have free schools. We need to have free this, free that. And that freedom made all the people jump on board. And that's how they ended up in that spot. There are terror cells here. There are bombing cells. You cannot deny that it is. You can't deny. When you get an attack like that, you can say, oh, that's a one-off guy doing it one time, and he's just one person. That doesn't mean we had a terror cell situation. That's why we've got Department of Homeland Security. Joker, listen. Department of Homeland Security was founded, put together on the heels of 9/11 because of stuff like this. Because America gets attacked, and America's got to now secure its border. But when you have people that don't want that done, when they feel that you're being they say you're expressing Islamic phobia because you're saying, listen, the terror issues, Sharia law issues, it's coming from people like that in the Middle East, and you're bringing that same rhetoric over here to the West. Boy.
First, let's go to Austin, Texas, a possible domestic terrorism offense in the city's Party District, 6th Street. where a migrant who was allowed to be naturalised despite a growing criminal record went on a shooting rampage, killing 3 people. Army, this is being investigated as a possible Islamist terror attack. What do we know so far?
Yeah, I mean, he was wearing a shirt that said "Property of Allah." He had a Quran. There's the picture right there. He had a Quran in his car, so we clearly know this is a terrorist attack, even though they were saying, well, we're not sure what the motivation was. I don't know how more clear you could be on the motivation, frankly. It was a drive-by shooting initially. Then he calmly parked the car, came out, started shooting people on the sidewalk. Absolutely horrific in a very popular area of Austin. I've been there I was just there a couple weeks ago, frankly, walking down the street and having a couple cocktails right along that promenade. Yeah, he first came to this country in 2000. Then he married somebody and became a U.S. citizen. And he was arrested 4 times, both before he became a citizen and after he became a citizen. But
4 times. We could legitimately have saved 3 lives if we enforced the laws that were on the books, because Texas is not a sanctuary state, nor have I seen any sanctuary cities in Texas. But we could have actually stopped a lot of that by vetting the people that come in before you turn around and even give them a citizenship. Now, even me coming from a family, immigrants in my background, I still feel the same damn way. I still feel the same. Because you got to realize not everybody outside of America loves America. You got a ton of people that do, but you got a bunch of people that don't. And it's hard for people to realize that, because you feel and you want to believe just the basic blanket belief that all immigrants should be afforded the opportunity to have the same liberties that we have. That's not true. That is not true, and it never will be true, because anybody can lie. And to me, I don't get why people don't understand that people lie. People lie and deceive. People, regardless of how much you want them to be nice people and you have a nice deal, and I'm tired of y'all talking about, oh, would Jesus be an immigrant? Stop. Don't include Jesus in your stupid argument. Don't include. Leave it out. This has nothing to do with Jesus. And the text right there is that statement is so out of text. I need to call up Kurt Franklin and leave him a message or some craziness and let him know that same craziness that he said in an interview. Now you got everybody repeating it on social media. Jesus is a Christian. Jesus is an immigrant. Jesus is an immigrant. Well, you think that Jesus went to Egypt and Egypt allowed Jesus to actually be an immigrant there and run for office? Do you not think that the Egyptians treated people different that weren't Egyptians? Do you think so? Do you think was anything that was put in line? Do you think you can just walk into Rome? Jerusalem was occupied by Rome and just say, oh, it's not fair. I'm an immigrant. You should treat me well. They will smack you upside your head. They would have smacked you upside your head, dragged your behind out. That has nothing to do with the state. And then you're going to say, oh, we're more civilized than they were. We're more now civilized. You're civilized in your head. There's a point where you become so smart, you're stupid. So smart, you're stupid. Would you let somebody come into your house and just sit on your couch, turn around, eat your food, steal your money out of your room and walk out? Nah, y'all wouldn't. You wouldn't, and they know they wouldn't.
I promise you, the Democrats will fight tooth and nail against his deportation, right? They're not going to allow ICE to lay a finger on this guy. It's crazy. And it really comes down, look, I'm sorry, we got to be real here. You know, this immigration question. We should not take in whoever wants to come in. We have to be judicial and choose who we want. I am pro-immigration. I am a product of immigration. I love it. Our country is better for it. But I'm sorry, guys, despite ChatGPT's best efforts to deter me from coming up with these numbers, okay, I looked the last 35 years. I could have looked more than that. In 35 years, every single immigrant to this country who committed a terrorist attack was Islamic. Every single one. I'm sorry. Those are just the numbers, okay? Even though they make up 5% of the immigration to this country, they make up 100% of the terrorist attacks. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm sorry.
Army, I'm sure there'll be groups saying that those figures are not accurate. It's all about how you define terrorism, but that's an argument for another day. There is no...
And you believe that the police are going to protect you and to keep you. I think that's I think that's the most ignorant thing that I've heard from when I hear people that are anti-gun, anti-immigration, anti-ICE. You guys believe that this, I guess our law enforcement they're going to protect you? They will be everywhere. This guy shot 2 people, was able to kill 2 people, injured, well, 3 people, and injured 14 other people before he was actually taken down by police officers. 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody was carrying that wasn't around, and I bet some of the people that were there probably wish they were carrying. And that's very weird to me. Texas, of all places, open carry laws. You don't have to deal with the licensing and the bureaucracy you deal with in some of the other states. But Texas had it. So it is weirder to me. The more I see more incidents come out of Texas also, and we never hear, maybe it's true, maybe it happens and mainstream media doesn't want to report it, anybody standing up to these guys and shooting them, taking them down. Because as we look at terror cells, I'm not going to focus on the cell as much as I'm going to focus on the people that are here that really can prevent that from happening. The difference between America and a lot of these other countries, depending on where you're at in America, someone will have a gun and they will take you down. They will take you out. But they've made it so hard now, even when you shoot and take someone out that's in that situation, you could still catch a lawsuit from the people, the family of the person you shot, because they were trying to take people's lives. That's the insanity of what's really taking place. I like to follow Colin Noir. If you get a chance, go to his YouTube page, Colin Noir, great guy. Gun advocate, used to be with the NRA, now he's with another place, but he's done a ton of videos on gun advocacy, the Second Amendment, and things like that. All around there. Because it's going to be left to citizens and people like you and me to bear arms responsibly, understand how to use it to take jokers like that down. So you're not waiting a whole 15 minutes for the cops to show up. Gun fired, a person should not be able to empty their whole clip, whether it's a rifle, whether it's a handgun, take lives and walk away like that without someone putting pressure on them. Yeah, dragging them out, shooting them, popping them, however you want to call it. Because until that happens and that message becomes a resounding message, and I'm not talking and I'm not advocating for foolishness. Dude, I am no way saying randomly shooting. The first person, I'll do a story on the first one that I see that shoots and takes someone down and they claim they're radical Islam. And they did it, and we're going to find out if that person was really opening fire on someone. But at the end of the day, this freedom was put in place by the founding fathers, not just to protect the people against a tyrannical government, but to also aid in protecting us against assaults, foreign and domestic. I'm a very big advocate of knowledgeable, educated firearm safety. And because we sit back and we fight that, because situations have happened when people have abused firearms. And I keep saying it's like that because there's no education behind it. You get more education getting your driver's license, which takes more lives a year than firearms do in our country. People get hit with cars, ran over, maimed with cars, DUI driving, hitting and killing, taking people's lives with cars than they do with guns. And for that reason, I believe the left knows that. And if you're listening to this and you're on the right and you know someone in a position right now that is Senate, Congressman, any of you out there, this is what we need. See, we have this fight that goes on and people lose their lives because people, good people, who would probably be the best people to carry a weapon, they don't get a chance to even carry a weapon, bro. They don't get any of that. Simply because we got these people that make people afraid and fearful of having a firearm. If you think I'm crazy, leave a comment. Think I'm wrong, leave a comment. I got a lot more to talk about today. This is just one of the things we're going to talk about. Because to me, that's the breakdown. Because they don't want people to have it so much, they'll turn around and make it as hard as possible.
At least 20 people were shot in downtown Austin this morning.
Let's jump
and
over
at least
here.
3 people
Because
are
Cole
dead.
Noir makes a good point.
At this point, prepared to say that it was potentially an act of terrorism. The FBI is working in lockstep with our partners, with Austin Police Department. We have members from our evidence response team, as well as our many other specialty teams, including our digital forensics folks that are on scene, helping to address the scene.
Working in lockstep. It sounds organized, it sounds powerful, but lockstep is a post-game analysis. I was on the east end of 6th Street this week, Thursday to be exact. The side where the cops congregate because that's where they expect the trouble. But the wolf doesn't play the odds. The wolf plays the vulnerability. The shooter didn't go to the east end. He went to the west 6th, outside of Buford's backyard beer garden. He found the gap where the lockstep was just 3 blocks too far away.
There were indicators that on the subject and in his vehicle that indicate potential nexus to terrorism. Again, it's still too early to make a determination on that. That's why we are investigating it very closely with our partners with Austin Police Department.
The FBI is being careful, but the evidence isn't. The shooter was reportedly wearing a Property of Allah hoodie and an undershirt with the Iranian flag. They found a Quran in his SUV. This happened less than 24 hours after the U.S. and Israel launched an Operation Epic Fury against Tehran. We are officially at war. And for years, we've been warned about sleeper cells and radicalized sympathizers right here on our soil. We're told the war is over there, but Sunday morning proved that over there is now right here. Now, I want to be very clear about what I'm saying next. I'm not advocating for anyone to carry a firearm while they're drinking or getting drunk at a bar. What I'm saying is that
and I'm not advocating that. If you like to drink, you probably don't need to have your gun on you, okay? But I know some of my country boys, they do it regardless.
Oh, no. This current global crisis, your lifestyle has to reflect the reality of the threat. If you're a part-time carrier, someone who carries 50% of the time, or only when you're going to bad neighborhoods, you're leaving a gap that a predator like this shooter is looking for. This is the time to think about really increasing that percentage closer to 100. If that means you change your plans, if that means maybe you stay sober so you can stay strapped and legal, then maybe that's something you might want to consider.
So I don't drink. I stopped drinking a while ago. Started back like doing, tequila and wine, but then I stopped. It just wasn't for me. But the one main reason I stopped is because I discovered that I wanted to carry more as I saw a lot of these instances, situations taking place. And you can't really carry and really perform if something goes down and you're drunk or you're even tipsy or you have some liquor in your blood. Because after you shoot that individual, they're going to do a breathalyzer test on you. They're going to do that. And if you're those two things don't work well with the federal government, put it like that. Okay, and you know what I'm talking about. You could end up now being a person that saves a bunch of lives and then you get dragged to jail because they will do that to make an example of you. So you have to build your life now around the fact that if you're a father like me, if you're someone like me, that you have people that you love and you've got to be on alert for them, your lifestyle now has to adjust to a place where you're always aware of what's taking place and you're able to respond from a responsible place. You can't remember what you were trained if you're drunk. Well, some people can. And I've seen some of them do it in the military. But still, the average person who doesn't train every day, it's hard for them to remember that.
Never know when or where a sleeper cell is going to decide to bring the front lines to your doorstep. You don't get to choose the time of the attack, but you do get to choose your level of readiness. Under the law, specifically Warren v. DC, the police have no legal duty to protect you specifically. Their duty is to the public at large. When the shooting starts, the only person with a legal or moral duty to protect your life is you. The police did their job, and they did it well.
Police responded quickly. They say that they had engaged with the suspect, who is now dead.
They killed the threat, and in a very short time, I will admit. But they weren't the first responders. The victims were.
Yeah.
Don't mistake police presence for your own personal safety. The wolf doesn't attack the shepherd. He attacks the flock that thinks the shepherd is just around the corner. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended.
So I guess my biggest message, I think, is we have to all be ready and prepared. The days of just laissez-faire, going out the house, everything's good, and just living, I think those days are done. I think right now we need there's a lot of stuff moving out here. They filming a movie in my neighborhood, yo. It's crazy. But the days of us just being laissez-faire and relaxed and just going out and not even carrying your firearms, you just walk, those days are done. And I think that we see more and more of this. We can have this fight when it comes to immigration, whether we have immigrants coming in or not, illegal immigrants, you don't like Islam, you're Islamophobe, I got you. Whether it's someone dressed with a hoodie that says property of Allah, or whether it's just somebody that just had a mental disease trip down. See, if you go to certain places like New York, Zoran Mamdani would tell you, no, we need, in his situation right there, he would have called for the social police. He would have called for social workers to confront him. He needed social workers. He had a mental breakdown. This is the same Zoran that is Islamic and had a private meeting with Islamic leaders in New York that were business leaders to let them know that, hey, I'm here. You're going to have a lot of opportunities. We can't stress it enough. I can't even stress it enough. I can't. Don't think that this terror cell thing isn't true. We've had our borders open for years upon years. I was looking at an article, dude, 2004. They were talking about bringing in how we were getting illegal immigrants being smuggled into the country in the trunks of used cars. Insane. 2004. So you can't sell me on the fact that we don't have terror cells here. We can't sell it. The terror is the violent outbursts. I think to some degree we're not looking at that as being the primary way of taking the U.S. down. I go back to saying it's done on the political side right now. It's done at the ballot box. It's done with pushing laws that infringe on Western ideology in order to change it. I may be wrong. You may think I'm crazy. You say, man, why is this black dude up here talking about this? Doesn't he know he's black? These are minorities. You should be defending them. Nah, Negro. I'm down for the country. I'm down for it. God first, America second. I'm telling you, God first, family, America. Boom. And even if my family, anyone in my family crossed the line, I would take them down. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the safety and sovereignty and the ideology that we have in the West, it's under threat. And a lot of people here don't get it. And it's interesting to watch. And I'm going to continue to report on it. All right. Another thing that kind of drove me bananas, I got a couple stories, so I'm going to just go through it one by one. Okay, I'm going to throw it out to you right now. Look what we're talking about. I like to see, I've got one, Atlanta. Man, dude, Atlanta, These teens busting out. Y'all teens, bro. Y'all, some of the parents in Atlanta, they definitely need charges. Y'all need to be arrested. Y'all dragging these, y'all letting these kids go out. We had 100 kids in this. I'm not even getting on that story yet. We're going to talk about Bill and Hillary. We're going to talk about Bill and Hillary because it's blowing my mind how she gets up here and makes this statement. Why is it that they going against Trump in these Epstein files? And we got Bill Clinton up there with pictures in Versace shirts with Epstein, but nobody's saying anything about it on the left. You guys are crazy. We got that. Shoot, I got some stuff on wholesaling. We got some stuff on some real estate stuff, some additional real estate stuff. Let's go with this. Okay, boom. Let's listen to this. Let's do this one. Boom.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You're going to make me do this, right? You came up here and you said this bogus statement. So now you're going to make me do this. Okay. You're a veteran. I mean, you was in the Air Force, but you are a veteran.
Okay, shout out to all my vets out there. When he said cheer, we know what you're talking about. Cheer Force Rangers, cheer Force Airborne. Those are the ones that just stayed in the chair. Sorry, Air Force. It's you. And you really didn't get out there and do too much. But it's all right. You served. I respect that. But if you're serving, you can't get up here and argue with what Trump said, and and it's worse if you don't know. Man, anyway.
Here we go.
Let's go.
The sitting president of the United States has the power and the authority to send U.S. troops anywhere on the planet for up to 60 days. That's called the War Powers Resolution. Then he has one stipulation. He must notify, not get permission from, notify Congress within 48 hours. That's the only stipulation.
Congress was notified before this actually took place, on the heels of it taking place, when it started. Congressmen got texts. All the Congress people out there, they got text notification. They've spoken about it on Good Morning America. I saw it on Today that they got the notification, whether they liked it or not.
Now, if Congress does not approve, he has an additional 30 days from the start of his 60 days to withdraw the troops back to America. But guys on your side of the fence like to put out disinformation and false information like this, because that is false information. All you do is you try to rile up everything. Now, as a veteran,
not just veteran, as congressman, as a senator, as a public representative, as an active duty officer, they all should know this. So don't get lost in the hype.
You should be supporting the troops. It goes down like this. If we're a family, we're in the same house, like America is our big house.
Come on.
I don't give a damn who you fighting with or why you fighting with them. If you in a fight, I'm in a fight. And this fight ain't over until whoever we fighting is gone. Now, if for some reason I disapprove of why you got in the fight, after all the fight is over, we'll talk about it. But right now, we in a fight. Your president, President Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris told Iran, don't. The president we have now, he told them,
yep,
if you don't agree to get rid of your nuclear ambitions, he told them, I'm going to bomb the hell out of you. His words, not mine. So now, the next time you feel like you want to come and make it, and I welcome all your statements. Whatever you want to say, as long as it's truthful. And this is a lie.
Lie.
Now, let's Step up and make it make sense, baby.
Step up and make it make sense. War Powers Resolution of 1973, often called a War Powers Act, is a federal law designed to check the president's power to commit the United States to an armed conflict without the consent of Congress. He's free to do it, y'all. Stop crying, stop bickering, stop acting like a bunch of bees running around here, screaming, I can't believe this, blah, blah, blah. This is how the law's been written since 1973. If you don't like it, change it. While the Constitution names the president as the commander-in-chief, it gives Congress the sole power to declare war. This resolution was passed over a presidential veto to make sure both branches have a say before troops stay in harm's way for long. 30 days to recall them back. That's why I believe Trump is really pounding and hitting them, because you got to see, they could have done this already. How do you go out on your first day and kill the supreme leader of Iran in one hit in the first couple hours? They had the ability to do this before, but the message wasn't, we want to take and we want to eliminate the leadership and free Iran and make it where we break up that terrorist cell that's in Iran. That wasn't it. The whole goal prior to this, even though they knew, the whole goal prior to this was just, listen, we want to send a message, like Obama did. Listen, here's your $400 million back. We want to just tell you just can't have fire. You just can't have nuclear power. They walked away from the table, and for that reason, this is it. Okay, Dominique, what's up, Dominique Reed? We know Israel told him to do this. It's a fact. Yes, Mossad definitely had a lot to do with this. I read that the CIA helped gather the intel along with Mossad, combining it together. It only could, is a fact. Only Mossad could have actually infiltrated to the point to get that information. Okay. And one of the coolest show to watch too is Tyran. If you get a chance, watch it on ABC, on Apple TV. Yeah. 2 seasons. It's crazy they did a 3rd season and this broke out right in the middle of the 3rd season. But it's crazy. But yeah, I don't care if Israel told them. I don't care. As long as as long as Iran is in power, as long as they do what they do in Iran, it's going to happen. I mean, honestly, I'm not against Israel defending their borders. I'm just not. I haven't been against Israel defending their border. You may look, and people have argued the point with me, and I get it, and I should be. Yeah, some people say I should be. This is how I see Israel. If your whole existence, the existence of your family, the existence of your relatives, were on the brink of being exterminated, completely washed from this planet, World War II, as a result of people over on the other side of the globe not understanding the dynamics of what was taking place in your country, not understanding the dynamics, not your country, I'm sorry, to your people, because at that time Israel was non-existent, to your people, and they have to argue with other countries to get the support. I understand now why Israel is the way that they are. I understand it. Do I agree with everything that Israel does? No, I don't. I don't agree with it. Do I think it's a needed factor? Like, if it's necessary for them to pound the heck of out of Iran? Yes, I think it is. Because Iran didn't stop with Israel. They hit Qatar. They hit Dubai. They hit all these other Arab nations also that were around them. You notice that. It wasn't just Tel Aviv and smashing Tel Aviv, hitting Tel Aviv, hitting Tel Aviv. No, it wasn't. They went all around them to other Muslim countries that also have working relationships with Israel. So you gotta say, and you gotta recognize that you're dealing with a force, even in Islam, that is radical. Even in Islam, that's radical. And for Israel to want to take them out, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. To be exterminated or get to the point of extermination that they went through, nothing is off the table to keep their sovereignty and to stay alive. See, black people do the same thing in the States. We talk about slavery and we like, oh yeah, we were going to slave us. We got to do this. We got to do that. And we get radical. We got our Black Panthers. We got all these other radical groups, BLM, other ones. We put people into office. We shout for a black president because we say we were once slaves. We're free, but they want to enslave us back again. The difference between blacks and the Jews in Israel is that Jews in Israel they're much more around the world, the diaspora, much more. I'm reaching. I could be reaching. The Jews did march with Dr. Martin Luther King. They did celebrate civil rights. They were the reason why a lot of the blacks got what they got. They were one reason why we were able to actually get Civil Rights Act. There were people that didn't look like us that had our backs. I may be reaching, but there was a line where there was an understanding about extermination and what it could mean for just like their culture, our culture. It seems like I'm reaching. I get it. You may say, man, that's a big piece. But man, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't do anything different. If I was them, I would do it. They got reparations. Yeah, they got reparations from Germany. Germany was forced to pay them reparations and in a place to live. And they got a place to live. And now this is becoming a totally different topic. We're getting down the topic of reparations. And I'm gonna tell you my thing on reparations, and a lot of people don't like it. I say it again. Slavery was more common and a thing when blacks were dragged into slaves. And blacks were dragged into slaves by other blacks who they just couldn't come in and walk into Africa. Somebody had to steal them out. So if we talk about reparations in our country, so let me ask a question. We talk about reparations in our country. They got reparations. They had no country. They got reparations. They were killed, totally, almost on the brink of extermination. Almost on the brink of extermination. Concentration camps. We had slavery. I got it. Our period of time, 400 years, the longest, 400 years. Are we taking into consideration the Jews in Israel? Are we taking into consideration? But we also got to consider what took place with Muslims coming into sub-Saharan Africa and enslaving countries too, right? Do they get a free pass? They don't get a free pass? You agree with Israel. You're delusional. I don't believe what they are doing is right. Don't put black people in these conversations about civil rights. And this war here, you go, that they got their money. So we are not citizens of the most powerful country in the world. Let me ask you a question. If you were still in Africa, you were never dragged over here. Do you think Africa would be a better place? Do you think Africa would be not as a continent? Let's not take it a continent. We know it's a difference. Let's say if you were in Ghana, or a lot of blacks are able to trace back to Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, West Coast. Do you think your life would be better, or you think it would be worse? The Jews were black. Okay, Israel, Jews are not the real Jews. Bro, Africa was colonized. And who do you think started it? Do you think it was just French is still make them pay? So you don't put anything on the back of the Muslims that actually came in and forced them? See, the argument that Africa has been colonized, you can't just stop there. You can't just say, oh, Africa was colonized. Every freaking country, every freaking continent in this world was colonized by somebody. You know that. France is still makes them. All of them were, bro. The thing is, I can't say that these people aren't Jews. There's the religious Jew. There's the ethnic Jew. Did you know that? You can be a Jew just by conversion. You don't have to be a Jew being born to be a Jew. And if blacks were Jews, and we're saying that they're the real Jews, and this is a totally different conversation, completely different conversation, completely. And you're saying blacks were the real Jews. I can go as far as to say that the Jews from back then, biblical days or scripture days, aren't the same Jews from right now. But I can also say that Judaism has never been based on ethnicity. It's always been based on conversion. We have people converting to the Jewish faith, even in scripture. There were clear laws given. If the Jews were going to live among you, they had to convert. They had to be circumcised, just like the children of Israel were circumcised. They had to. None of them were allowed just to be randoms. None of them. You couldn't have random people living in your walls like we have now. We have random people living non-conforming to society. One of the biggest things requiring them to live there, they had to convert. They had to convert. So if you're talking about people converting over to Judaism, that's more common than somebody being born a Jew for hundreds of years. Would you say? Yeah. I didn't expect to talk about the conversion of Jews or the Jewish faith. It's funny. Can we go to black people and say you're not black? Can we do that? We're not black. Can we go to light-skinned people that are mixed black and say you're not black? Can we do that? Can we do that? Stop bringing us up. Your conversation is about this war. I know. The conversation is about the war, and I get it. I started off talking about the war. Cool, Sonia, you're right. We are not black. You're right. I consider we wouldn't technically be black. I mean, we are of a dark skin color, right? I would say we're darker skin. I would say we're black. Black is the word, noir is given to us, right? Negro. I mean, I don't. That's the color people carry. People call themselves that. I don't care. I don't care what you call yourself. I don't care. You started the stupid shit. Oh, don't start, Sonia. Don't start. Don't start. Don't get blocked just for being in a room. Don't do that. Because I'll block a nigga in a heartbeat. Honestly, I'll do it. Because when you come to my stuff and you want to, I don't. I don't start the stupid shit. I'm just literally saying my opinion. And your opinion is valid as well as mine. You may see it differently, and it's cool. I just see it from the lens. Okay, stop bringing us up. Finish talking about the stupid war. Okay, cool. I'll go on and finish talking about the stupid war. I'll do that. But, before I even get to talking about the stupid war, son, you inspired me because there was a clip that I did pull. And you got to help me understand this, right? Block me. Dude, you don't want to do social media suicide. Why do you want to do this? All right, bye. 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 The thing about me is I operate like a salesperson because I'm a salesperson. Some will, some won't. So what next? The fact that I feel like Israel run our country and that's it. I agree with you. Israel does have influence in our country. And I can see also that the Islamic population is starting to get on the same level of Israel as far as having influence in our country. And I think the influence is there in multiple different ways. There is a biblical influence in our country, which I don't support. I don't support the narrative that, and we can get, this goes down a whole different hunting spot, but they do. But you got to realize at the same time, it's not just Israel that has influence in our country. Our country has the biggest relationship with Israel because we don't have a true presence in the Middle East at all. And I believe Mossad does a lot of our dirty work. There, I said it. You need people to do your dirty work. You need that. We can't all do the dirty work. They needed people to do it. Just don't like the fact that I feel like Israel run our country and that's it. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. The influence of Israel in Hollywood, but you got to also look at this in multiple ways. There's not just one Israel. There's not just one type of Jew. You have secular Jews and you have religious Jews. You have Jews that don't care about any of this political stuff going on in America. They're just aware of it and they live here. Then you have the ones that are heavily entrenched to influence America to protect their country. I feel like America has a working relationship with Israel that's necessary. It is necessary for us to have a presence in the Middle East, especially when you have a country like Iran that if they could get nuclear power, they could do it. They would do it. They would do it. I'm cool with that, but we shouldn't be sending our tax dollars over there for them to benefit from it. I can agree with you on that. I can agree with you. Free education. Yeah, I can agree with you on that. There are certain things that Israel shouldn't have a say in when it comes to the U.S. or have influence. But I think that goes back, in my opinion, to what we allow to be advocated for at Capitol Hill. When we allow these groups, which John F. Kennedy spoke about, to now begin to raise money to petition on Capitol Hill to change and adjust laws, and these are foreign groups that are set up here, but they have foreign dollars. Yeah. NGOs. Yeah. I agree with you with that. I 100% agree. 100% agree. I would be stupid not to. Now, Sonia, I'm off the rim and I'm going and shoot. You know, I do this because I like the content. We don't want to clip this content up for long form anyway, for short form anyway. But Sonia jumped off and she ran, and if she was a subscriber, bye Felicia. I don't need people that don't want to hear it. I only like them. I get so much love from my subscribers messaging me and telling me, hey, we love this. This is great. Talk more about that. Thank you very much. Because I'm not here to be ignorant to you, even though I'm going to say it's stupid. And if we got to do that, we can do that, But it kind of blows my mind. I was sitting down having dinner this weekend, my daughter's birthday, and my mind gets blown when I'm flipping through there, and you got teenage kids at the table and all they ordering spaghetti and just talking and going, you listen to some, and then after a while you tone out. But I got a huge response from women, liberal women. I could feel the conversation was more emotional in the texts, in the statements, in the post replies. And I felt like they didn't really get a good grasp on geopolitics. A lot of this stuff, man, is logical. There's no winner in this. For us to actually believe that America wins and we just win and win, I don't agree with Trump on that. We win, but then at what price? Everybody got their own point of view. Everybody do got their own point of view. I'm going to run this real quick.
We're taking the streets of New York today after just last night, the U.S. and Israel coordinated an attack on the people of Iran, an attack which targeted an elementary school, claiming the lives of now 82 schoolgirls as martyrs. We know that this comes off the heels of 2.5 years of brutal, depraved U.S.-Israeli genocide against our people in Gaza.
Well, folks, it looks like Soros money has officially made its way to New York City. Must have been a direct deposit because, dang, that was fast.
So don't forget, we had this conversation about Jews interfering or having interference in American politics or having that level of control in American politics. And we talking about American tax dollars going over to Israel. We got to also talk about some of the billionaires that are here, too, that are Jewish, that actually have more of a globalist mindset, and they want to actually determine what America does. And they don't interfere. They interfere on two levels, Soros being one of them, mobilizing people to protest. And that protesting only brings more chaos to a situation because anybody can have their difference of opinion on it. But when your money pays people to stand there, $250, $300, $500, and push your point, your narrative, we go to something completely different.
Now, let's go ahead and address a little something right there. There was indeed a coordinated attack by both the United States and Israel on the Iranian regime, more specifically, the Ayatollah regime that was oppressing its own people, and therefore the people were calling for the removal of this dictatorial jihadist power. Yeah, that definitely happened. That's reality. Now, the fantasy land you seem to be living in has informed you that this was an attack on the Iranian people. Turns out that this is the response of the Iranian people. So what I'm basically trying to say is this. You're cap.
I follow him. He got some really good pieces. But it is cap. It is cap. And now I'm seeing more, I guess, what would you call it? Liberal Iranian. And I don't think it's liberal. That's the thing about it. What I discovered when I started researching this is that up until 1978, 79, you had a huge liberal class that advocated for the regime to actually be switched from a regime that worked with the U.S. to a more stricter regime out of the belief that they were going to get a bunch of free stuff. Remember we were talking about free stuff at one time? We're talking about democratic socialism. The Ayatollah advocated, and his message to them in 1979, 78 was a message of these billionaires are here and they have oil money and they are living this lifestyle. People used to vacation in Iran. Used to vacation in Iran. Vacationed in Iran, had homes in Iran. Iran was like considered Las Vegas / California / Florida of the Middle East. But the message of free stuff made the power shift happen. That was one of the messages on there. Of course, stricter. We need to be more restrictor. The women walking around, short skirts, there, da 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 da. And it opened the door. And when that door opened, 30,000 people were killed on the heels of him taking power. Very few people realized that 35,000 Iranians were already murdered over the last 2 weeks. Over the last 2 months. Damn, they shooting this movie out here. Not on, just right down the street. Annoying. Over the last two months, nobody said anything about that on the left. Nobody said anything about that. So I get a little nervous when I hear some of the women that come out and they don't even recognize some of the things that were taking place in Iran. They just advocate for America to stop.
War for their safety, as they have every right to. Every single person has a right to safety. Those people who are now alive and well because their families escaped from a war, that are advocating for war, you're so unserious. You are so embarrassing. The fact that you're shouting for war, and it's so funny to me because you cowards are telling Americans to shut up and accept Trump and whatever he's doing, but you're not on the front lines.
So the Iranians, and go check out Patrick Bet Davis' podcast, PBD podcast, cool podcast to listen to. Born in Iran. I listened to him for a couple hours, just reflect on what took place. He was there. His mother and people were there. I got to listen to the actual Iranians, the people that were there. That's why every time I've heard the story of Iran and I've heard different things take place, I see stuff like this starting to come up, and I got to wonder who's paying these people. Like, where are they getting this narrative from? when your family escapes Iran and then they shouldn't be mad or upset that Trump is trying to free Iran or he's listening to the calls. And whether you say it's alternative motives or he just want to cut off, that's 20%. Iran helps bring it up to 20% of the oil supply for China, which is our number one enemy globally. Number one. Getting chopped off. So I'm wondering, what's the motive behind this? Like, what makes a person in their brain say, your family got out and you're wrong for wanting the regime that forced your family to run to be brought down? Does that even make sense?
You're not under the bombs. You're not there. You're not fighting the good fight. It's not your newborn babies. It's not your premature babies that have to be evacuated from Gandhi Hospital in Tehran today. It wasn't your kids in the school yesterday. خیلی خوبم بلدین بریم برای جراحی و برای پول درآوردن و برای زمین گرفتن و خیلی خوب بلدین.
I don't speak Iranian or Arabic. I don't speak Arabic, bro.
برین ایران تفریح. But now, all of a sudden, everyone shut up. Americans shut up, even though it's your right to control your own government. Everyone shut up because this is what I want. No one else has a right to speak on this, except you have to die for what I want. Oh my God, unserious. You people are unserious. I don't support the regime killing innocent Iranians, and I will never support the US or Israel killing innocent Iranians. I will never support anybody killing a single.
And that's the mistake. When you're at war, you're going to get freed. There's a cost for freedom. And like Sonia, she didn't like us talking about the black people. Keep the black people mouths out of it. Listen, black people had to get free. There was a cost to get free. People died for that. Anytime you go to free anytime you go, back to that word free again, damn. Free, somebody's going to pay for it. There's no such thing as freedom without a price. Where did this come from where we are cool with free stuff without a cost? I don't know.
Innocent Iranian. If you spoke up about the regime killing people, you need to speak up about the US and Israel killing people. And if you speak up about Israel and the US killing people, you also need to speak up about the regime killing people. Innocent Iranians should not be paying the price.
Innocent Iranians should not be paying the price. But unfortunately, these same innocent Iranians, they're innocent, but they're calling for freedom. And one thing I noticed, it was very weird. You only have about 30% of the country that's actually more pushing for the same regime to be there. But that's enough. Just like in China, 20% of China is they're really socialist. They really agree with the regime in China. But that 20% is enough to hold everything in China in place. It's just the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the people do the work. 20% of the people keep the team up. If you're in sales, 20% of the people actually drive the productivity of the country, of the company. The 80-20 rule is so real. It's still real. It's still real. You want us to not do anything for the 20%, the 30% that's there. I am not an advocate for American troops dying. I'm not an advocate for it. But damn, we're in a place right now, and I think Trump recognizes it, and some people don't want to recognize it. The enemy is not Iran, honestly. Even with their potential for nuclear power, it's not. The enemy's not even, who else? It's not even Zoran Mamdani. Honestly, it's not. I keep saying the enemy is China, really. The enemy is the ideology of China. That's really what it is. And China does back and get together with, I would say, countries that have the same ideology, but very similar. They have a working relationship with Iran. They get Iran supplies about 4% of their oil, 4.5% of their oil, close to 5% in China. I think it's a little bit more than that. Venezuela had 4.5%. Iran had somewhere close to about 14.5%. And they get a little bit more from Russia, too. Russia benefits from that. But all of these regimes, they seek to destabilize America. When did we become comfortable with that level of threat being on our back doors? Here comes the liberal news media of America.
Maybe it's for oil, as the president daydreams himself into another 19th century war fantasy of conquering some foreign land he doesn't understand or care about, but he would like to rob them of their natural resources. Maybe he thinks Iran and its proud 92 million people will happily and easily become a new colony in an empire helmed by an American emperor. Maybe that's what he thinks. But as this now becomes the 7th country Trump has bombed just since being back in office for 1 year.
Obama bombed 9 countries. I think it was 8 or 9 countries. Same amount. No less than 7. It was no less than 7. 8 to 9 countries. And we wasn't at war. We wasn't at war. He bombed them. Syria, the same list.
Cui bono? Who benefits? It seems like a disturbingly easy question to answer. Why has the U.S. government been pushed in this direction? Follow the money. Why is Donald Trump willing to let that happen? Well, with this president, sadly, we keep learning over and over and over again that the easiest answer is almost always the truest one. He does not play four-dimensional chess. There's just him and what we know he's like, right? This president appears to have grown his enormous and excitable new appetite for military intervention in just this 1 year back in office.
No. Trump has been speaking about this since he sat on the couch with Oprah Winfrey back in 1988, 89. He's been saying the same doggone thing. He's been talking about Iran. He's been saying the same doggone thing on global politics, about China, about the way that George Bush, not George Bush, Bill Clinton empowered China to do the run that they have right now. How America empowered China. This is not a new conversation. We keep repeating the same thing over and over again. The man was talking geopolitics on the couch with Oprah Winfrey and saying exactly what he's done right now in the position to determine and adjust geopolitics. And he simply said it because America, and he repeated again, America can't be strong when this is in place. America can't stay in that position as this is in place. Why do we think that this is a brand new thing? This is not brand new. This is not a Trump brand new delusional. This is not. Trump said this in a part of the deal. Trump said this. He's remained consistent to who he is, whether you like it or not, whether you like it or don't. But bro, I get tired of women who don't even understand global politics. Come on, women. I need more. Like, I sit back and look at AOC in Munich, in that Munich address, just stumbling, blah, 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 blah. Governor of Minnesota, same thing. Blah, blah, blah. Bro, this is not a brand new trip. We've known this already with Trump. So for me to say that Trump is doing this out of some delusional position to be king of the universe, this Negro knows he's going to die. We know he leaves office in about 2.5 years. This is an attempt to do everything I can in the next 4 years and get it all done. Whether you like him or don't. Do I agree with everything that Trump does? No, I don't. No, I don't. Do I believe that Iran was a clear and present threat? I don't believe they were at that point in time. I don't, honestly. I think more the money that was released back to Palestine was probably the biggest threat. But I don't believe Trump that Iran was really the biggest threat. I don't believe they were the biggest threat. Were they going to acquire nuclear power? Now, let me tell you one thing that a lot of people don't talk about. Iran, their biggest supply of weaponry comes from Russia. Russia has nuclear capability. Russia advocates for Iran on the world stage, okay? So when when NATO gets together and they say they want to condone or want to bash what took place by any of these powers, specifically when they have an issue with Iran, you have Russia advocating for them, and they have been advocating for them, and nothing's changed. Russia has nuclear capability. That's the reason why they're so hot on Iran not having that nuclear capability. They can't stop what's taking place with North Korea. Can't do anything about it. But they can stop this. Would Iran blow the heck out of the U.S. if they had that capability? Damn, they would. They would blow, they'll set it off. They would set it off. Boy.
Apparently because he just thinks war is easy.
No.
It's exciting. It earns him not only close attention, but even occasionally plaudits from the very serious people who are professionally inclined to believe that there's some rationale, some strategery, some good thinking behind the start of every war, particularly in the Middle East.
So the deal that Trump wanted with Ukraine, and Ukraine has already started to adjust now, and they want to come back to the table and talk about peace and what they can bring to fruition, working with the United States for Russia, global politics lesson, mineral rights. The deal that they struck with, who's the other, with Congo, that kind of quashed that civil war, that whole thing that was taking, not a civil war, but that whole fight that was taking place in the Congo, mineral rights. Why do we need those mineral rights? Because China has already bought up, or through some level of debt, controls a lot of African countries because they want their mineral rights. Why is that important? Look at gold. Look at silver. When I was buying silver, I was only paying $25 an ounce, $30 an ounce at most. Now, if I want to go buy an ounce of silver, I got to pay what? $100 plus? Is it what is the price of silver right now? $88? Bro, you can't really buy it until it drops down to $60. Why is it skyrocketing that high? Because China's been stacking silver, gold, mineral rights. Why is that important? We're talking about semiconductors. We're talking about the race for AI. These things are necessary to build some of these things that we need for AI to actually run efficiently. You need the silver. You need to outline some of these wires in gold. You need to be able to be prepared for any type of economic shift. We only think about what's happening down the street at City Hall, or down the street at the end of our block. I'm talking about getting upset with them filming a movie near me. I'm like, because that's all most people are concerned with. Not a lot, but most people. Not everybody, but most people. To say that this is not four-dimensional, three-dimensional chess is to believe the narrative that a lot of the globalists give you. This is a stupid thing. Why would you want to do that? It's only stupid when you don't understand the full picture. It only becomes an issue when you don't understand the full picture. When you understand the full picture, you're like, oh, I like green eggs and ham. Do I agree with it? Just like mass surveillance, I don't agree with all those moves. Is it a necessary thing? I do see how big it is, how necessary it is. Yeah, I do see it.
Starting a war, launching airstrikes, doing this sort of thing, it gets him a ton of attention. He gets to do it unilaterally, he contends. Naturally, there's no question that he would seek a declaration of war from Congress or even an authorization for the use of military force.
Like I said, he doesn't have to. That's in a presidential, that's exactly what I covered earlier. He can do that as the president. Bush could have done it. Obama could have done it. Hell, if Hillary Clinton made president, she could have done it. Kamala Harris could have done whatever they wanted to do in that 60-day window with 30 days to retract troops, bring troops back. So it's disingenuous. It's disingenuous. It's gaslighting. That's it. And I don't know why it keeps coming from white liberal women. I've never seen a woman say it's okay for a regime that persecutes women to stay in power. But then advocate for women's rights. Y'all got to help me understand the confusion with this. You got to.
In Iran, you can get arrested for walking a dog and then they can take your dog away because according to Islam, dogs are najis, which means unclean. In Iran, you will get arrested, not can, will, if you're a female solo singer. It is against the law. In Iran, not that you have to wear hijab, but if your hijab is not to the liking of the regime forces, they can push you forcefully into a van and take you to jail. And then things that happen in those jails, let's just say that they're not ethical. In Iran, you are not allowed to change your religion or choose your religion. If you do so, you will be executed. In Iran, they would line us up as children, force hijab on us, and force us to chant "Death to America." I mean, I wouldn't call that school. I would call that a cult that is trying to brainwash children into a terrorist mindset. In Iran, there are stations with regime forces, and they can stop your car and see if the person next to you is a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or you're married to. If you're not married to them, you can get arrested. In 5 years, imagine that a Big Mac went from $6 to $600. That's exactly what happened in Iran. Well, roughly, I think it's even more than that. And everything I'm telling you is not even the worst thing that's happening in Iran. Every time people request a regime change and they start to protest, the regime shuts off the internet and starts shooting people with military-grade weapons. Children. Regime forces in the past 2 to 3 weeks have killed more than 50,000 people. So yeah, if you have opinions about how Iranians should feel, perhaps you should go to Iran, live with the regime, and maybe raise a child or two, and then we can speak about it.
Yup. Because at the end of the day, I don't understand the huge civil rights push and fairness push of the left. But then when you see this, it doesn't. Okay, let me tell you, real talk. Trump won both ways. Okay? I'm gonna tell you how he won both ways. We got the midterms coming up. The people that were against him, that were for this, guess what? They're more likely to vote for him. Vote for other politicians that support this same ideology during midterm. First win. Second win, you're talking about a breakdown of 15% of the oil coming or going to China. That's the next win. Third win, if they actually get the regime to sit down, and I said this a couple of days ago, actually on Saturday when this happened, I said it. I don't think that this is going to be fast. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think right now they took out the head, but you still have to make the regime submit. 20% typically can run a country. We've seen it, and I said it in China. But when did we start now ignoring human rights, and it's not an issue when it's somewhere else? I guess, is it only an issue when it's here, or when the people break into our borders, it becomes an issue? And I can understand that. See, I'm giving you the benefit of a doubt. I'm giving the benefit of a doubt. I can understand that. But at the end of the day, he won both ways, man. He won both ways. Nobody likes weak power. Nobody wants a weak country. A weak country says anything and everything goes. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. I may be wrong, but hey, that's what they're going through in Iran, and you gotta say what you want to say. Check this out. I'm at an hour and 30 minutes into this discussion. Hey man, like, subscribe, follow for more content if you're watching this. I gotta talk about something a little bit different, because some people get all sensitive. Y'all get sensitive. Oh my goodness, what is he talking about? What does he mean? How does he mean it? Hold on, let's talk about this. Hold on.
Moving on now, a professor at a major New York public college is under investigation after being caught making racist remarks during a public school meeting. The incident involves Alison Friedman, an associate professor at Hunter College, part of the City University of New York. The comments were made during a virtual Community Education Council meeting on February the 10th. Parents and students were discussing a controversial proposal by the city to shut or relocate several public schools on Manhattan's West Side. Schools facing closure often serve larger numbers of Black and Latino students, and this could obstruct their access to education. Well, during the meeting, a Black middle school student spoke emotionally about her school and the teachers she appreciated, saying she did not want the school to be shut down. Well, while the student was speaking, Friedman, who was attending as a parent, was heard making racist comments, apparently unaware that her microphone was turned on. The remarks were captured on the public live stream.
Okay, before we even get deeper to this, we're talking about a liberal professor. We're talking about a liberal school. Yes, the school is a liberal school.
They're too dumb to know they're in a bad school.
They are too dumb to know they're in a bad school. I mean, F. Apparently Martin Luther King said it. See, when I say what I'm saying, I'm not saying it because it doesn't make sense. You already know this is the idea. This is the mindset of white liberals. This is the mindset of a lot of the ones that are in higher education in school, and that a lot of our kids are fighting and pushing to get into. They said that you need an education, you need a 4-year degree to be successful. And they look at this as the highest, the pinnacle of success. And I'm going to tell you, I don't believe this is the pinnacle of success. I believe that following God and God's will for your life is the pinnacle for success. Having a relationship with him, having him tell you where you need to go, why you need to go there, even if he doesn't say why you need to go there, that's it. We wasn't put on this earth just to follow our own desires. We were put on this earth to glorify God. Why were we put on this earth to glorify God? Because there is an enemy and he seeks to be glorified. And if you decide that you want to glorify the enemy through all the different things that you do, then you can do that. But God wants to convert the people that may need him, wants to be changed by him, and the ones that are just, they don't want to hear it. He, out of love, he's calling you. Let's go.
I mean, apparently Martin Luther King said it. Like, if you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore.
Oh, I never heard King say that. If you train a Black person well enough, they will know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore. I never heard King say anything like that. But you're listening to professors and you're taking their advice on all this other stuff, on how to think, what to believe in life, who's right, who's wrong. You get a lot of people go to college and get that ideology. Kids go and they get their ideology for life from their 4-year degree. You're supposed to be learning a skill to make money, but you're learning an ideology. This is what they think.
Well, there's no historical record showing that Martin Luther King ever made a statement resembling this associate professor's claim. Friedman later apologized and said the microphone had been left on by mistake. She claimed she was actually trying to explain the idea of systemic racism to her child by referring to what she described as a racist example. Hunter College says it's now reviewing whether their associate professor's actions violated its policies. The college called the remarks abhorrent and said it remains committed to an inclusive learning environment. Still, the explanation has done little to calm criticism. Local officials strongly condemned the remarks, saying it was especially troubling that children were present when the comments were made. New York City education leaders say the statements caused real harm and say the school system is working to address concerns raised by the community. Well, for many New York City families, the incident has become about more than just one professor's comments. It's reopened a wider conversation about racism and fairness and how students are treated in one of America's largest and most diverse public school systems.
Power doesn't end quietly. Some deaths are not accidents. They are messages. It's about what followed.
So let's stop that right there. I told you so. I showed you a female. I showed you. I told you so. You keep thinking that the people that are for you aren't for you. One thing I can say, and I'm still on the conservative side, is that the need to actually not be reliant on a system or look for these people to actually push you or to stand up for you. Stand up for yourself, bro. Like, if my kid went to that school and that professor said that, I would be pissed, man. I'd be mad as heck. Because that's how they really feel about black students. Hey, your opinions are welcome. Like, subscribe, unsubscribe for less or more content. I just told you what it is. You decide what you want to do with it. At the end of the day, a lot of these schools aren't put there to actually give you a true education. You may get a piece of paper, but they want to change your thinking. It's already been put in place. You're just falling in place with it. Cool. Man, listen, I'm going to bring it from this geopolitics thing. I'm going to bring it down to Atlanta, man. I'm going to bring it locally. Let's come down. Because at the end of the day, one thing I've noticed and I've seen clearly is that there's less people that know real true history of some of these subjects. They may know bits and pieces. And unfortunately, maybe I'm of the stance right now, a lot of these women are ran by emotions. And it was not nice. Oh, we should have did better right there. We could do better. Now, you got some great women that, yeah, they. But you have more that aren't. Don't worry, we got crazy men too. But unfortunately, man, let's rock. Let's get this thing going. All right, cool. I wanted to talk about this because you tell me what you think about this. Atlanta versus Houston. Now, I was debating, and I've debated, do I want to move to Texas? Now, I'm not even going to talk about Sharia law of that, because this is a completely different segment. Living in Atlanta, do we choose between Atlanta and Houston? This for my black people. I love Atlanta. Atlanta's a great city. It has its issues. I know no place is perfect, man. I'm not going to bash Atlanta. Atlanta is the reason why I was able to escape Philly 25, 30 years ago. However you say it. It's always become my new home, floating between Atlanta and Florida. Always been just really cool. I like the beaches, and Atlanta offers, Georgia, I would say, offers more than a lot of states, a lot of places offer. What I've been noticing probably over the last year to about 2 years has been a huge trend of black people moving to Houston, moving to Dallas, moving to Austin. Houston and Dallas specifically, they're starting to get a lot of black transplants coming from different places. Charlotte also, I had a chance to talk to this guy in Charlotte today. No, not today, on Sunday. Yesterday. Very good conversation. Show me and share with me a lot of the good things going on in Charlotte, especially for, blacks that want to move down there. But I don't think it's just a black issue, a black conversation. I think the black culture is probably starting to recognize some stuff in Atlanta. And I don't think it's just the culture. It's also the women. Listen, let's be for real. Oh, no. Y'all looking for a good man and y'all go into it. Y'all can't find good men in Atlanta. Why? Because you got so many women outnumbering the men here. Do you know that in Atlanta is really weird? There is legit the imbalance between men and women in Atlanta. I've never witnessed it anywhere else but here. I've never. But this is a shout out to all you guys. Yes, this is a great opportunity if you come to Atlanta to pick the right one. There's some good women in here. There's some crazy ones too. A little crazy, not too crazy, just a little crazy. Could be some days, may not be other days. Some days they are, some days they aren't. But there's some good women here too. But this debate between Houston versus Atlanta, it's starting to get a lot more. I'm gonna tell you, you can't make Houston look like little Atlanta and then say it's better than Atlanta. You just can't do it, bro. It's not possible.
If you decided between moving to Houston or Atlanta, or if you in Atlanta thinking about coming to Houston, or if you in Houston thinking about going to Atlanta, bitch, Houston all day, every motherfucking day. This is coming from somebody who just moved from being in Atlanta for 4 years, and I've been in Houston for 4 months consecutively. Houston is bigger. Houston is better. Houston food is better. Houston got more opportunities. Houston is more diverse. The niggas in Houston is finer, but they still DL just like the ones in ATL. So yeah, come to Houston. And I know the Houstonians, whatever the fuck they get called, they be getting mad when we come out here. But who give a fuck? They not gonna move us. They not gonna make us leave. Y'all come. It's a motherfucking ball. Like, I came here before for 3 months, but I left and went back to Atlanta because my mama moved here first. And when my mama moved here, I had to go move into my student apartment in Atlanta because I was going back to school, of course. And now that I'm here permanently, bitch, I love this life. I love it. And I'm sure you will too. So come on down. Come on in.
I'm gonna tell you, you love every place that's not where you grew up at until you discover more about that place. Give yourself about a year, sis. Then you can really make a good decision on if you like Houston or not. Because from what I gather from Houston and people I've spoken to, Houston is becoming saturated with women. And yeah, the men are more highly qualified men down there. But sis, you're going to be competing. The numbers are still going to compete against you.
You can't compare Atlanta to H-Town. I'm sorry, Atlanta. You can't have fun in Atlanta no more. Like, you got to worry about some bullshit happening. Your car might get broken into. Yeah. You might your car might have a boot on it when you walk outside. It's gonna cost you $200 to get in.
Yeah. Oh shit. $200 to get in.
It's hot. It's hot. It's Atlanta's turn. Like, Atlanta's a place you can go have fun when you don't live there. If you move there, you're gonna want to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
Houston, you're gonna go there on vacation and want to stay there at the same time. You're not gonna want to leave.
Man.
And niggas really have emotion for us, real motion going. It's a whole lot of scamming going on in Atlanta. It's a whole lot of motion going on in H-Town, bro.
Valid.
It's going down in H-Town. You're going to go out there, get you some good food, get you some money, and you might come up on a bad bitch.
I need that.
Listen, like, subscribe, follow for more content. Let's keep going. And that's a fact. Atlanta's food game has fallen off. I don't know what it is. It's just overrated when it goes to restaurants. I ate at one good Italian restaurant this weekend, and I would say it was good simply because I think the chef was from Jamaica. I don't know how you have an Italian restaurant with a chef from Jamaica. Maybe I don't know anything. Don't tell me, Leon, Jamaicans do the best spaghetti. That's true. Black people do really good spaghetti. But I hadn't eaten at a good place since then. Props to
You would say Atlanta is better than Houston? No, not at all. I've lived in both. So what makes Houston better than Atlanta? Besides the traffic. Probably not gonna like this. You gonna say women? No, we do have better looking women. Yeah. We second place. Y'all first. It's cool. Y'all got more women. The ratio is higher here. For real? Yeah, the ratio of women in Atlanta to men has always been abnormally high. Y'all just missing food. Y'all got great restaurants with ambiance and experience, but ain't nobody mama cooking in y'all. I don't feel like that in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Right now, Atlanta's restaurant scene is too built around experience. They want people to come in and they want it to look like it's going down, it sound like it's going down, people dancing and everything, but that's what you going for. Houston started off with experiences too. But that's the thing, all the food can back it up. Everybody say our food nasty. I ain't saying your food nasty, I'm saying y'all put a lot into experience. Miami is the same way. No, Miami got some good food. But again, you gotta go into Little Haiti. You gotta go into the cultural spots. You gotta be from here, or you gotta live here and then know where to go. Like, I know some great Atlanta restaurants, but you're right, like Auntie ain't back there cooking. And look, I'm a restaurant owner. I understand the staffing issues, but everybody gonna cost a lot. Somebody got to be back there tasting it, being like,
Yeah, I don't get it. What do y'all have people tasting the food in Atlanta? That's the biggest complaint right now about Atlanta that I got. I'm not gonna spend my money to buy food, and my wife cooks as good as any other, just better than some of these chefs that are out here. Better. At least the seasoning. We like seasoning. Why do y'all put so little effort and you create so much of an ambiance but you don't deliver on what you create. That's the most disappointing thing to me about going out in Atlanta. It's just that the ambiance is fly, but the delivery is so weak. I don't get it. It wasn't always like this. And y'all, some people feel different about it. Y'all got your opinion. I get it, but I've been to these different restaurants, dude. I know what goes on in some of the kitchens in the back too. Y'all don't get it.
Every time y'all feel like y'all conquer Atlanta, y'all move to Houston. Cause I've been to that side of TikTok, and I don't even know if they that fond of y'all either. Yeah, you know, I'm about to take my talents to Houston. Twin, I don't know if the problem is the city no more. The problem is probably
it's never the city. It's always the people. I'm telling you. You think that going to a place is gonna make it better. It's not the city. It's always the people, yo.
Atlanta and Houston have one thing in common, and the fact that Atlanta has lemon pepper laced restaurants, Houston has hot Cheeto laced restaurants. Like, why is there hot Cheetos on my elote? Why is there hot Cheetos on my ice cream? Hot Cheeto French fries? Like, we definitely have a hot Cheeto obsession. I don't know if it's to the lemon pepper level, but it's either hot Cheetos or it's tahini. Like, some of the restaurants, like our desserts or our fresh fruit that we get at restaurants are tahini down, okay? Or if you go to HEB, they're tahini down as well.
Y'all like that hot Cheeto stuff? Oh, that thing makes my stomach. Oh God, too much hot Cheetos?
A lot of y'all compare Houston to Atlanta or Atlanta to Houston. There's no comparison. Houston is not Atlanta. Atlanta is not Houston. They both great cities for two totally different things. Atlanta, through and through, black Hollywood, black money, black wealth, everything black culture, black colleges, like everything through and through. That's like Wakanda for real. Like, that's motherfucking really like Black Panther shit, like everything.
You can't take the Southern vibe, black culture vibe, and take it over to Texas. You can't. The people are different. The people there in Texas are completely different. And I think a lot of black people go down there. Y'all obsessed probably with this cowboy type of mentality. If you're gonna be obsessed with black cowboys, you got to take the whole thing with you. They think different. They think different. They move different. They move different. A good different. I'm not saying it's a bad different. And don't go down there thinking you're gonna change it, because that's what some of y'all are actually doing. But this Southern vibe can't be replicated in the Midwest, bro. In the West, you can't. Not Midwest. In the West, you can't do it. It's just not.
Legendary black come out of Atlanta through and through. Houston has a very, very, very diverse culture. Very diverse. A lot of things black come out of Houston. A lot. A lot of things Mexican come out of Houston. A lot. Houston has created a lot of things for the culture. But the culture is mixed because you got Mexicans, you got white guys, you got Asian guys. Like, Houston is like the biggest hip hop mix up ever. You gotta think. You got motherfuckers like Johnny Dang, Paul Wall, rappers like Mexican OT. All these motherfuckers come from these areas, and they're not black, but they are a part of the culture. So Houston, diversity, Atlanta, everything black.
Hey y'all, I'm getting ready to start a series, Atlanta versus Houston. Now mind you, I just moved to Houston.
Yeah, and Atlanta's a little diverse too. Atlanta's diverse. Please don't take it away from Atlanta. Atlanta's very diverse. We do have a huge Mexican, Spanish, Hispanic. Let's put a Hispanic, because there's Cubans down here, Puerto Ricans down here. Population, shout out to the Hispanic population. But Atlanta is nothing like being south of the border. Well, being north of the border of Mexico, of course, the Hispanic population is completely different.
And this week hasn't even been a full week. But I'm already noticing some differences and some similarity. And I want to talk about it. And so some of it I don't have enough information to even make a comparison yet. But I know that I'll get it as I go. So this is why it's called a series. I've driven all to different areas today, and I haven't even covered half the different areas. One main thing that I noticed that is different here in Houston than Atlanta. The rent. Oh my God, what the fuck? The rent. Don't want to move too fast and make a bad move, but baby, the rent here. I found an apartment that is about the same size of what I left. That is literally $3 to $4, almost $40 less. $40 less than what I paid, say 1 bedroom. Dog. Well, I'm talking $300 to $400 less for the same quality, standard of living, and all that. Why is that? Why? And then the specials they had. I went to another place that I really, really liked. It was off in Katy. It was too far off in Katy for me, but it was in a wonderful area of Jordan Crossing or something like that. But I wasn't in love with the apartment. But their special was 2 months free plus $1,000 off the 3rd month. Like what? And you don't have to take, say your lease started in August, you get August free, September free, October $1,000 off. You can add that together and break that up over it had to be a 13-month lease. Over your 13-month lease, that's almost $300 off your monthly rent for the whole year.
I can agree with her on that. I think the cost of living, apartments down in Atlanta has changed. And part of it is the hype of people actually moving here, even though we do have great growth comparison to Houston. But the cost of living here is a little bit more when you talk about you got to get a house or you got to get an apartment. Completely different than what you would find in Houston. And I think because they know that you come to Atlanta and it's a hot spot, I think they just know it. Like people just, it's just like you're gonna pay more for a Q5 for a Q5 TDI. You're gonna pay more than you would actually pay for a standard Q5, and it's not. Well, the TDI is better, but they got some supercharged ones too. But either way, let me stick to the topic. Yeah, you're gonna pay a little bit more because it's the brand. Houston really hasn't established itself as being a real mecca for Black people. It's starting to do that now, and so you better get in as fast as you can because I believe the more Black people move down there, they're gonna start charging. They're gonna start charging the rents that you have in Atlanta. Everywhere is great until. Everywhere is great until. Let's put it. Everywhere is great until.
So listen,
you've been there.
I'm gonna join this chat with Houston versus Atlanta. Here it is. I'm not from Houston. I'm not for Atlanta. I goddamn moved here from Virginia to expand my businesses to Houston. And I'm gonna just say this. We're gonna end this discussion. Come to Houston on a Sunday, and you're gonna see why it's Houston over Atlanta any day. Start at Forget Me Not. After Forget Me Not, go to Chapman and Kirby. After Chapman and Kirby, go to Bar 5015. After Bar 5015, Address or Sakai. After Address or Sakai, P10, Area 29. One of them after hour spots. That go your Sunday right there.
Big homie.
And you're going to see why it's Houston over motherfucking Atlanta. Sunday. That's all you need is a Sunday to tell you why it's over Atlanta. A Sunday. Chapman and Kirby going to solidify. It's going to close the deal. Case closed. Deal is over with. Sealed.
Big homie, I might have to hit you up when I come down there so you can show me all the different routes because I get you. They treat Sunday in Atlanta with brunch like crazy. It's just a different thing. Let's do one more.
Yeah. Shout out to all my Houstonians. Everybody, like this is the spot, but I ain't gonna lie. Houston's the new Atlanta. I take Houston over Atlanta any day.
Not the new Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah, too bougie, everybody cocky, everybody got it. You go to a house, you got roaches.
Yo, homie, run that back one more time, because he right about this facts. This is right. I got to give him I got to call it when it's right. When it's right, I'm going to call it.
Yeah. Shout out to all my Houstonians. Everybody, like this is the spot, but I ain't gonna lie. Houston's the new Atlanta. I take Houston over Atlanta any day. Atlanta, yeah, too bougie, everybody cocky, everybody got it. You go to a house, you got roaches. Yeah, all that old shit.
Homeboy's right. Atlanta is bougie, bro. I don't know why. Maybe people come to the city and they feel they gotta like step up their bouginess. Man, I was enjoying myself yesterday walking around with like just looking unbougified. Okay, I don't care how you put it, because if you don't rebel against bouginess, you're gonna get sucked in, and people gonna think it's okay.
Great. Houston, they gonna live beyond their means. I love Houston, bro. Like the nightlife never ends. It never ends. You got 9 o'clock mornings in Houston. Yeah, you up. It's like Miami, man. Like you come to Houston, you hanging out with the right, you gonna be out to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You gonna party. You ain't close. You ain't shutting down at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You gonna ball till you fall. Yeah, it was meaning. If you ask me, I like it because of the marketing. The marketing. The if you a businessman and you looking at this like I'm looking at it like, damn, if you got something, all night getting this shit out. If you a thoroughbred hustler, you like to beat your feet, this the spot. Cause it's always gonna be a spot 6 o'clock in the morning that got 100 people in it. At least 2, 3 in Houston every night, like Monday through Sunday.
It's funny. Atlanta, they don't have as many people coming out in the city that they used to have. We used to have a ton of people. I was out this weekend and I'm like, my father-in-law asked me, said, yo, why does it seem so dry in the city? COVID 2020 did that. And I think, my opinion, after 2020, Atlanta hasn't been the same. Most of the people moved to probably Houston, Charlotte, some of those other places. Yo, shout out. I'm always going to be an advocate for Atlanta. This is where the heat is at. Still, regardless of whatever you think, bro. All right, let's roll. All right, shoot. I got one last one, and I'm out for today. I'm approaching my 2-hour window, and I promise I'm going to start keeping this down to about an hour to an hour and a half, but that's a lie because I just like to talk, and I like to talk to people, especially when they jump on here, whether they say stupid stuff or clean stuff, or whether they say good stuff or bad stuff. Bye, Felicia. Hello. It don't even matter to me. All right, cool. So one of the best ways to make money right now is wholesaling. But the problem is when you wholesale in Atlanta, there's a lot of competition. Now, I did do a video. I got a PDF on that. If you first, before we even get into that, like, subscribe, follow for more content. Let me just run this. All right, let's go.
Wholesaling even worth it? It's definitely worth it. In life, you can either spend time or money. You got to pick one of the two things to spend. If you don't have any money, then you got to spend time, and wholesaling is that time task that you need to take seriously. That's how I got started. Spent a ton of time grinding, reaching out to sellers, putting together buyers lists, doing all sorts of menial, low-value tasks that sucked in order to get income to be able to then reinvest into Section 8. Yes, it is a soul-crushing activity. Yes, it is feels like a waste of time at times. But no, if you take it seriously, if you make it a business and treat it like a business, and you start shutting down these $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 assignment fees that you can then reinvest into actual passive income that is exponentially less soul-crushing, then yes, it is worth it.
Yeah. Wholesaling. I mean, I started wholesaling back in 2015. I love it. It is a grind. I tell people it is a grind. If you are a real estate agent, listen, learn about wholesaling. I got a PDF in the main description. You can download the PDF. It goes over 6 figures wholesaling, working with investors. And I'm going to tell you, I've done 6 figures working with investors. So I'm not telling you something I don't know. So I laid out the blueprint so you'll know how to actually do it. If you're a real estate agent, do I have a wholesaling technique type of deal like that? No. Go talk to Jay Morrison on that joint right there. But if you do want to get some of the deals that's in Atlanta, off-market deals in Georgia, go to the main description. I do drop that every Friday, that off-market property list. So you got something, you know what I'm saying? You got something. You can find the deals. I love wholesaling. It is a grind, but some people just don't have the heart to really get through it.
I don't mind buying from a wholesaler. I don't, and the guy said to me, he goes, well, you're a real estate agent. I said, I don't have the tolerance to call 5,000 people a day. I just don't have it. And I am a real estate agent. I honestly don't want to be that close to the deal. Ethically and morally, if I go to Grandma Jones, I need to tell her what is the true market value of her house. That is my moral compass. I am obligated to do that. If the wholesaler got Grandma Jones to enter into a wholesale agreement for a ridiculously low price, and he's gonna make $20,000, $25,000 on the spread between what Grandma Jones is gonna get and what I'm gonna pay him, how about it? It's gonna cost me that $25,000 anyway, because I'm gonna pay it to Grandma Jones. So for me, I'd much rather have the buffer. I'd much rather him have to do all of the work, and I'll just come in as the buyer.
Yeah, I got a lot of investors that just want to do that. That's why I say
wholesaling real estate
good
is dead. And yes, I'm absolutely sure of it. Wholesalers try to find cheap off-market deals, sell those contracts to flippers or developers, and they make a tiny spread in between. The problem is everyone's wholesaling now, and buyers want top dollar for their properties. The difference in wholesaling and developing is developers control the deal. They dictate the value of what the properties can be at the end, and they cash in on the most profit. That's why I stopped chasing wholesale deals and got into development.
Some people get into development, but these are two different types of beasts. And I think it's a little disingenuous what he's saying, because the person who just wants to make some quick money, and they may not want to go the development route because you still got to get permits for the land. There's a lot that goes into developing, but it's really simple to wholesale. You simply finding a deal, and you find somebody that wants to take your position and closing the deal. If you're an agent, you got to double close it. If you're not an agent, then you get to go and do it without having to pay those extra fees. But yeah, a lot of wholesaling is the gateway drug. So when you start wholesaling, you're going to find something that you prefer to do a little bit more. For some people, it's fix and flip. For some people, it's buy and hold. But at the end of the day, there are other opportunities in wholesaling, and it opens the door outside of wholesaling, and it opens the door for you to actually see all those opportunities.
Is it worth getting into wholesale real estate? As somebody who got in it this year alone, the answer to that is yes and no. There's 3 core skills in wholesale real estate, and if
homeboy's a newbie.
If you don't have any of these, go pick up a job where you actually develop those skills. The 3 skills are real estate analysis, sales, and marketing. Luckily for me, I was already good at marketing, meaning that I already posted ads, I can build a cold calling team, and I was already decent at sales, so my acquisition process wasn't that hard. But if you don't understand sales process, you don't understand marketing, and I don't expect you guys to know this, but you guys don't understand the actual real estate market, then you guys will miserably fail, because there's people out there, there's companies out there who are literally given offers within literally 6 hours, right? You're gonna get outbeat by that competition. Now, is that literally meaning that you should quit everything? No, you should still give it a shot. You should potentially just start cold calling, just so you can understand the sales process, and then hire somebody for the marketing. You can still make a lot of money by yourself if you actually give it a shot.
Yeah, you can. You can make a good amount of money for yourself with it, but he mentioned 3 skills. Sales, marketing, deal analysis. I would go in and say it's a lot in that deal analysis. You talk about negotiating. Negotiating is one of the biggest and best things. Matter of fact, there's a book called Never Split the Difference. If you're going to wholesale, get that book. I didn't write the book. The guy who wrote the book, great book, because it helps you with negotiating, whether you're doing real estate negotiating or just negotiating for a job. It doesn't matter, because that's the biggest thing. The competition is there. Back in the day, we didn't have as much competition. Look, I sound like back in the day. But real talk, 2015, we didn't have a bunch of competition. Not as much as there's out there now, because everybody wants to do it. But there's still a lot of opportunity, because the market doesn't stay like this. It goes up, it drops down. It's always moving. It's a moving target. People jump out. People quit. Some people just don't want to do it anymore. They branch out to doing other things. So don't believe that there's no opportunity to make money there. There's a ton of opportunity. I say it takes time, education, to do it, and you need a little money. You do need a couple $100. You do. You don't want to put a property under contract and say, hey, I'm going to deliver $100 earnest money, and you don't even got $100 earnest money. Now you're lying. Now we're going to drag you out. Now you're going to get found out. Now you found out. Now you're going to have attorneys that don't want to do business with you. And you're going to have sellers that's going to be pissed. And the person you're selling it to, they may be pissed also that you wasted their time. So if you're going to do it right.
Most of the content you're seeing about real estate wholesaling makes it sound really complicated, because it is. Most wholesaling gurus are going to teach you how to do virtual wholesaling nationwide, but if you want to start wholesaling the easy way, I recommend you do it in your local market, and here's why. First of all, your interaction with motivated sellers who are the lifeblood of your wholesale business is just going to be easier because you're in the same location. You can relate locally. There's no, oh, but are you out of state? Like, where are you located? Why are you buying my house from? Blah, blah, blah. Especially if you're doing cold marketing, like cold calling, you're already going to have an easier time by being local. Number two, you're going to have an easier time analyzing deals. Instead of trying to learn every market or apply one algorithm to the entire 50 states, you're going to learn one market, your backyard. You're going to get familiar with your different cities and neighborhoods, what things go for. You're going to build that muscle and become a hyper-local expert, which is going to help you a lot more with nailing your numbers so that you can put good deals together for your investors. Also the lifeblood of wholesaling, putting together good deals. Remember, for an investor to buy your deal, there has to be profit to be made. And in order to figure out if there's profit to be made, you need to be good at analyzing deals. Number three, it sounds counterintuitive, but honestly, starting in your own backyard, you're gonna find so many more opportunities, because instead of casting a net across the entire country, you are focusing into one area and you're hammering those lists and those farms. I wholesale in Western Washington, and we closed 32 deals last year, which may seem low, but our average fee was about $32,000. So my team and my operation, we closed $1 million in wholesale fees just in Washington state. And I now teach wholesalers and agents across the nation how to build the off-market strategy in their local market. So follow for more.
Ooh, that's a good number. She got her numbers down. I love that. Okay, guys, I'm going to be out of this. Like, subscribe, follow for more content. If you want to get more information, if you're an agent, if you want to get on our off-market property list, just check the description. The information is below. But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, wholesaling changes a lot of lives if you know how to do it, because it's just a skill you can apply to anything. It doesn't even matter if it's real estate. Once you know how to do that, evaluate deals and have certain benchmarks and buy boxes and points that you hit, you could take that skill and put it into any business and you can rock. Like, subscribe, follow for more content. I hit that 2-hour mark. I'm a little bit over. See you guys on the next video. Remember, Jesus loves you. You're made in his image. Bonk what these people got to say, bro.